everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm here with my beautiful mother, and today we are doing a Q&A about vegetarianism and veganism because, as you all know, I'm vegan and my mom is vegetarian. We put up a post about a week ago. We got about 6 questions, so we're just gonna go through each one and try and answer them as quickly and as efficiently as we can. So here we go. We have our questions and answers kind of like written down in, well, she just got paper. I have a little book.
I typed it.
Mine's like kind of bulletin form and hers is kind of like written out. One of us will read it and the other will answer, and then the other one will give the other answer.
Okay.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. So the first question that we got was, what is the difference between vegetarianism and veganism?
So I think the difference between vegetarianism and veganism is that the majority of people that choose to go vegan base their decision solely on the moral aspect of the mistreatment of animals, whereas vegetarians, 9 times out of 10, choose just to have a healthier eating lifestyle, healthier choices for their eating lifestyle, so that's why they choose it, which is one of the reasons that actually I chose to become vegetarian.
And I just kind of made them more simplified answers, like very simplified. So vegetarianism is someone that doesn't eat land meat or fish, and then veganism is more so a lifestyle, as my mom said, moral aspects. You don't eat land meat, fish, eggs, animal byproduct, dairy. You also don't use products that have animal products or byproducts in them.
Or testing as well, right?
Or anything, yeah, that's been tested on animal. Usually, if a product's not made with animal products, it's usually not tested on animals as well.
Okay, so the second question actually that we have is, do you find your meals limited or hard to find different ideas for meals?
I don't feel limited because how far into veganism I am. I'm almost at a year now, so I just think of it as I'm doing something good for myself, the animals, and the environment. So it's hard to feel limited when you're doing something so like awesome. Anytime that I do feel limited, or when I felt limited when I first went vegan, was when I went out to eat or when we had family over. I couldn't necessarily eat the exact same things they were having, but I use Pinterest for a lot of my ideas, and if I find anything on Pinterest that I'm like, oh, you know, I really used to like to eat that, I just tweak it. So for example, like egg wraps, breakfast wraps that have egg in them. I used to love those. So all I did was I looked up like a tofu scramble recipe and then tweaked it, and now I have like a breakfast egg wrap that I can eat in the morning, and it's like literally, it's just like how it used to be, but it's without like the cruelty, basically. That's the way that I look at it.
I don't feel limited at all in what I can and cannot eat. Living with a vegan is a huge asset to me, with Kailyn and Mike being vegan for almost a year. If I have any questions, she is absolutely my go-to. She's the first person I will go to and ask if there's something that I'm not sure of, or something that I'd like to make, or something that I want. As she had said, you know, there was things that she used to eat prior to going vegan, and she will Pinterest them so that she can tweak them so she's able to eat them, and I will go to her for the same thing if there's something specific that I used to eat and really want to eat. Being vegetarian probably is a little bit easier. I see what Kailyn goes through in meal making. I mean, honest to goodness, the stuff that she makes is phenomenal, and I know a lot of times it's a hit and miss for her too, right? So she'll make it one time and it's maybe not, you know, quite what she was expecting, but she builds on that recipe, and I have eaten a lot of the vegan things that she has made, and she is a very, very good cook. So I have no fear. If I'm running around, I have no click nor clue what I want to make. She is definitely my go-to. One of the other things is meal planning. I work Monday to Friday, you know, 40 plus hours, and I get lazy. It's quite honest, and I, don't necessarily put something together in the morning before I go to work. I'm grabbing something quick. So meal planning, Kailyn has told me 100 times, Mom, meal planning is the way to go. Figure it out for the week so you have an idea. And she's not kidding. So definitely meal planning is your friend as well.
The third question we have is actually kind of like a more popular question. Kylie, off the table. So the third question is kind of more of a popular question that we have, and it's, what do you eat for lunches? And we actually had to do some thinking ourselves because, well, we'll explain why.
I actually have a lot of vegetarian choices in the way of lunch options. 9 times out of 10, when I'm taking a lunch to work, it's based on something that I or Kailyn have made the night before. So it's not necessarily that, I'm getting up in the morning and I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm going to make spaghetti today because that sounds fabulous. I'm usually taking leftovers for lunches. So again, when I had said from the question prior was about the meal planning, trust me, it's important because it's something I don't do and I really need to implement it so that I'm not running around not knowing what to take. I've taken spaghetti, sloppy joes, lasagna, along with stir fries and rice, which are great and quick lunches. I brought soup and had a nice salad. If I don't have time to actually put something together or I haven't had something from the night before, there are other options, and not that I'm promoting fast food because I'm really not. Where I work, I'm dead set center of the fast food companies.
It happens.
Unfortunately, right?
It happens, yeah.
There are options. I have Burger King has a veggie burger, which is actually really good. It takes them a month of Sunday to make it, but it is definitely worth the wait. Harvey's has a veggie burger. The Roadhouse, which is strictly in St. Thomas, has also a veggie burger, which is probably the best veggie burger that I have had. Legends, which is another local pub, also has veggie burgers. If you don't want to have it in a bun, ask for it without a bun. Substitute your fries for a salad. It's a little bit more of a healthier choice. One of the best places though, and probably the better places for you to eat if you're gonna opt to eat fast food, is the Pita Pit. They have so many choices for vegetarian and vegans. I know my daughter and son-in-law go there quite a bit, so it's kind of nice because the girls there, they know them.
Yeah.
I definitely promote it. The girls there are fantastic. If you have any questions, you can ask. And always, again, if I'm unsure, I go to Kailyn and ask her as well. There are lots of options out there. Just you have to make sure that you've done your research. Probably being vegan, do your research a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I said, meal planning, because I need to practice what I preach. So meal planning is definitely going to be something that's on the agenda.
And I don't have as much of a problem with this because I don't work right now. So when I'm working from home, it's really easy because I'm at home. So a lot of my lunches are made right then and there. I just have a little list of examples of some lunches that I make. So I'll just steam up some broccoli, and I have a cheese sauce that I make that's completely plant-based, and it's kind of like a queso cheese sauce. So you could do that over any kind of vegetable. Sometimes I'll have a protein shake because Mike and I will go to the gym kind of in the afternoon, so we'll have a later lunch, and I just throw in a banana, some almond milk, maca powder to balance hormones, and I can put a link down below. That stuff is great.
Yes, it is.
And then I either do vanilla or chocolate, and I just blend that up, and that'll be a lunch. You can do potatoes any way you want. Everyone says that, you get fat if you eat potatoes, but that's not true. I lost 60 pounds eating mostly potatoes.
She ate a lot of potatoes.
That was a lot of my meals, yeah. So you could cut them up and bake them. You can bake them whole. You could boil them if you want. You can make them into fries. There's so many different ways you can make potatoes.
Potato pancakes.
Yes, hash browns, tofu scramble that I was talking about in the last question. I eat that a lot. Pasta and potato salads, you just have to be careful of what kind of pasta that you're taking if you want to be healthier. Brown rice pasta is a really great alternative. And fantastic meal that I just found is quinoa mac and cheese. So instead of using pasta, there's tons of protein in quinoa, so You do that with nutritional yeast and broccoli, and it is so good.
I just actually got to try the tofu scramble the other day, and oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, you
don't have to have lunch specific food for lunch. I mean, I even have like dinners for breakfast sometimes. Like, it doesn't really matter when you eat what you eat, as long as you're eating more whole food, plant-based meals.
The next question that we have is, what are your suggestions for incorporating some healthy foods into someone's diet if they aren't sure if they want to make the full switch to veganism or vegetarianism?
So, my biggest thing is to stay away from packaged foods. I can't stress enough that our bodies thrive on whole food, plant-based. So adding a ton of fruits and veggies into your diet. Other thing you could try is to incorporate things like quinoa instead of rice, because it's higher in fiber and protein. Start your day with some homemade oatmeal because it boosts and kickstarts your metabolism. Eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. Knowing your body is the best way to lose weight. It's hard to get used to, especially if you've had like kind of eating disorders in the past, but I definitely recommend listening to your body when you're trying to incorporate healthier foods.
I agree with Kailyn, so keeping away from processed food is really going to help with your diet. It's probably one of the first steps. Salads along with vegetables and fruit is another really healthy eating lifestyle choice. When I originally decided to lose weight, I would watch what I was eating and I'd eat off a small dinner plate. Know not to go back up for seconds was a great start. Also eating 6 small meals a day, so you know, like Kailyn said as well, eating when you're hungry. So don't just eat those 6 small meals because you know you have to get them in a day. Actually eat them when you're hungry and are looking for something to eat.
That helps also with the smaller portions, right?
Absolutely.
If you're eating more meals, you're eating smaller portions at a time.
And then again, I do my shake, as I was saying before. I do my shake in the morning, and I can really feel a difference when I don't have it. That protein in the morning really kind of kickstarts me and gets me going. So yeah, that's absolutely huge.
So the next question we have is, how do you handle missing the foods you used to love to eat?
I don't necessarily miss any of the foods that I used to eat. With the help of Kailyn, if there's something that I really want, I can either get it vegetarian style, or I can make it vegetarian style. So I don't necessarily miss anything that I used to eat. Don't get me wrong, there are times that I'd love to just be able to go grab something and, you know, throw it on a plate or in the microwave and go ahead and eat it when I'm craving it. However, this is a life choice and something you really need to be dedicated to. I can crave something, so I'm blue in the face and want it, but I'm dedicated to the lifestyle choice that I made, so I will find an alternative for it every time.
I find that if you're craving something, if you wait about like 15 to 20 minutes and either eat something else or like drink water or something, your craving goes away. So there's like a little tip for anybody if you're like really craving something. Either find something else to eat. You might not even be hungry, you might just be bored. Or, you know, have a glass of water and usually that craving just goes away. But how I handle missing the foods that I used to love to eat is I don't miss them. Anything can be made vegan. Like, vegetarianism is a little easier because there's tons of dairy products that you can still use, but literally anything can be made vegan. You can have mac and cheese as a vegan. You can make ribs as a vegan. Like, there are so many different alternatives, and there's even plant-based alternatives. I realized that I love the animals more than, you know, eating them for my pleasure. I love the animals too much to really miss eating them. So, you know, I don't really think of it as me missing something. Instead, I've gained this whole other world of food that like I had no idea about. So it is definitely a lifestyle. You have to be dedicated to it, and it's a lot easier when you've watched videos and documentaries. This is the last question that we got from like my followers, and then we have a couple bonus questions. So for the last question, how do you deal with people who aren't supportive of the change to either veganism or vegetarianism?
So I actually haven't had anyone not be supportive. My parents have been great, and although they don't necessarily understand the whole thing. I also probably once a month have Sunday dinners with my best friend and his mom and her boyfriend. She always makes sure that there is something down there for me. She puts on a ton of vegetables. She always has a salad. We have monthly meetings where I work. So the girls will always make sure when we choose to order someplace, if there's a vegetarian option. One of my girls just actually went pescatarian, so it's kind of nice that I've got somebody on my side when we're, you know, trying to decide. I have managers meetings in London where my district manager, pardon me, will make sure that wherever we go to eat or order in to eat also has vegetarian options. To be completely honest, anyone that is my family or friend are going to support the decision that I make. They know that I've made it for my health and my well-being, same as I supported my daughter. Lifestyle change to become vegan, and my son, who is also opted to, he's pescatarian. So you need to support your family, honestly, and you know that they're doing it for their benefit, so why would you not support the decisions that they made? And truthfully, it's not really anybody's business. I will argue the reasons as to why I chose to become vegetarian, but I really don't necessarily think it's anybody's business. It's my life choice and my decision. If you're part of my life, you're going to support me no different than I would support you. I most certainly don't argue with my meat eating friends and family why they shouldn't. I'm not going to preach my beliefs onto them. If they ask, I'm absolutely going to tell them why I do it and why I think that they maybe shouldn't, but I'm not going to ram it down their throat. I'm not going to not support them in that decision, because that is the decision that they have made with their life. You know, I'm thankful that I haven't had that, and I have a great support system with my family and my friends, so.
Yeah, and I've noticed since going vegan that there are a lot of people who get very upset by your lifestyle choices and will argue, and it is a lot of meat eaters, and I used to be one of them for sure. I never understood veganism. I didn't get it. Usually when people don't understand something, they tend to get very defensive about it. Yes. Like my mom said, everybody has been supportive in my life. So supportive that my mom went vegetarian. My brother is pescatarian. My nanny and papa are at least trying to understand. And, you know, even my mom's best friend, Alonzo, he is so respectful. It's ridiculous. Mike and I were staying at my nanny and papa's, and he was painting over there, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go to your mom's house and I'm gonna cook my meat there because she doesn't mind as much as we do. Like, he's awesome with it. I mean, we don't mind. We're a little more laid back. We don't really, what you choose to do is your own decision. Absolutely. Like, first of all, you don't need anybody in your life that's gonna be unsupportive like that. It's your life. What I could say is definitely educate yourself. Make sure that you know why you are changing your lifestyle, and make sure that the people around you understand why you're doing it. You're trying to live your life healthier with more compassion and less cruelty, so it's a little ridiculous if nobody is going to support you in that. Just know that you have a whole world out there that is supportive. There are so many people out there, so if you reach out even on social media, there's so many pages for vegans or vegetarians that are just transitioning, so just look into it. You'll have so many people out there supporting you in your decision.
So one of the questions, I get it, I don't necessarily get it as much as Kailyn gets it. Probably vegetarians don't get it even as much as vegans get it, is how do you know that you're getting enough protein in a day?
So there is protein in everything, and all the grains and vegetables that the animals are eating, that's what we eat. You can get protein from so many different places. I have like a little chart here. Beans, nuts, chia seeds, lentils, legumes, rice, tempeh, tofu. There are so many different places that you can get protein. Vegetables have protein alone. If you are vegan, there are vegan protein powders out there. I use a Sport protein powder by Vega, and that gives me 30 grams of protein. So right there, like, that's That's insane. How I know that I'm getting enough protein is there's this like thing that I was doing like research on how much protein people should be getting, and I looked it up, and you're supposed to be getting about 0.3 grams per pound. So for me, that works out to about 45 grams of protein per day. So that's actually pretty easy, especially if you have a protein powder that has 30 grams of protein. That's so close to the amount that I'm supposed to be getting. But anyway, I use an app called Cronometer, and I count all my macros and all my calories, and I use a scale, and I go like the right way with figuring out how much protein I'm getting in a day. And because I'm weightlifting, I make sure that I surpass that amount that I'm supposed to be getting. So if I'm supposed to be getting like 45 to 50 grams, then I make sure that I'm getting like 70 grams of protein to make sure that my muscles are getting built. Another thing that you could use is spirulina. It's a green superfood powder that you can put into your smoothies, and it has tons of protein in it also. Quinoa, tons of protein. Oh my gosh, there's just so much stuff out there that has so much protein in it. Yeah, stop asking. Just.
Nor are we asking where you get your protein. So if you are a meat eater and you're eating meat once during the day, how do you know that that meat that you're eating is giving you enough protein to get you throughout the day? And for those of you that don't know, Kailyn and Mike are engaged to be married. So that's, 2018. So eventually after that will be grandchildren. So I said to my daughter, I am confident, obviously, you're going to raise your children vegan.
Yeah.
My question is, when your children get to the age to make their own choices as to what they want, maybe they want to go pescatarian, or maybe they want to just go to vegetarian, or maybe they opt and choose to eat meat, or at least want to try it to be able to say that it's something that they've done. What is your take on that, and how will you support them?
That's really tough, obviously, because I don't have kids and I'm still pretty young. I have a long time to at least think about it, and I'm gonna make sure that my kids are completely educated. They'll know what happens in the industry and everything, so they'll definitely be educated. Now if they get to a certain age and they're like, Mom, I really want to try meat, it's gonna depend on what age that is. If I feel they're confident enough to make their own decisions.
Absolutely.
They're gonna understand the health aspects. I don't want them, obviously, to eat any sort of meat or dairy that's gonna cause them any health problems, but who am I to say no? It's their life. Just like you have let me lead my own life, I'm gonna let them lead their own life. They're definitely gonna be educated for sure, and I'm confident that, sure, they're probably gonna have a rebellious stage when they're teenagers and gonna wanna try meat, but I'm confident enough that when they get sick after they have it, that they probably won't turn back to it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna let them lead their own lives for sure. That's it for the Q&A, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. I was super excited to get this done with you, and
Thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
So it's really good to have another person who's not vegan, but like you really do almost lead a vegan life, so it's awesome to have your opinion on things. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.